If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? If you needed me, I would come to you. I would swim the seas for to ease your pain. When the night's forlorn and the morning's born, and the morning shines with the light of love, you will miss sunrise if you close your eyes, and that would break my heart into. Yes, if I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? If you needed me, I would come to you. I would swim those seas for to ease your pain. Baby's with me now, since I showed her how to lay her lily hands in mine. Who could ill agree? She's a sight to see, a treasure for the poor to find. If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? If you needed me, I would come to you. I would swim those seas for to ease your pain. Oh, I would swim those seas for to ease your pain. I would swim those seas for to ease your pain.
This is a quote from Andrea Gibson. In any moment, on any given day, I can measure my wellness by this question. Is my attention on loving, or is my attention on who isn't loving me? That's pretty good, huh? Is my attention, my wellness, this is about my wellness. Is my attention on loving, or is my attention on who isn't loving me? It's a good one. Thank you, Jace. Thank you. I told Renee I might get riled up today. Or maybe not, but I do want to reiterate the message that I've said before, which is regarding AI. That nothing I offer you today do I offer because I put all this stuff in AI and it gave me all the stuff out and that's what I'm giving to you. No, I do not use AI to prepare my Sunday message. I told you, unless it's spell check, the original AI. But that's it. That's it. Because you know, I think, like, you don't get my heart. You don't get my heart unless that's the case. You don't get me. And you can either like me or not like me. That's not the question, right? It's not about who's loved. It's about this is what it is. And so I was thinking about, just because you can do something doesn't make it the right decision for you, right? Just because you can do something, it doesn't make it the right decision for you. For instance, another example. So I was going to the dermatologist, and I was diagnosed with perioral dermatitis. Yeah. It's this red stuff that's right around here, and you know, and they said, yes, that's what it is, perioral dermatitis, POD for short. And here's what you do. You take this doxycycline, and then you use this cream on you, and that's the way we're going to get rid of it. And I was like, oh, doxycycline is a mild, in this dose, antibiotic. Like, okay, I'm not about doing that sort of thing. But then this happy little 28-year-old assistant comes in afterward and said, oh yeah, doxycycline, you're going to be taking that for the rest of your life, okay? Don't worry, a lot of people take it, she said. You know, don't worry, everything will be fine. It'll be good, she said. It's like, no. Like, I am not going to take a low-grade antibiotic for this little redness around my mouth for the rest of my life. You're telling me that? You're 28. The rest of your life? No. That's not going to happen. Maybe to someone else. Maybe it's the right decision for someone else, but it was not the right decision for me. No. I took about 3 weeks worth of it, and I'm done. You know, I'm finished with it. That's not the way it's going to be for me. We'll see. It might come back. I might make a different decision, but the rest of my life, no. Just because you're told, just because someone tells you that's the right thing to do, doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. I say check in with yourself. Check in with yourself. Is it the right thing or is it not the right thing? Back in 2001, Renee and I became tithers. We became tithers. Tithing is a spiritual practice that we use to keep our attention on our spiritual aspect of life. Tithing means for us that whatever money comes in to our life, through our job, through whatever means, 10% of it goes out to support whatever is nourishing our spiritual development. That is the practice of tithing. No, it's not on our net income, it's on our gross income. Because we pay taxes on the gross income, we also tithe on the gross income. And it used to be long ago that we used to put it on Schedule B on the tax form, and we used to get a tax deduction for the amount of money that we gave. Well, fast forward, and now the standard deduction is way up here, and we don't even come close to the standard deduction of doing that. So the question is, well, we're no longer getting the tax benefit. Should we be tithing? Like maybe, but that's not really what it's about. You know, just because we now can't get that doesn't mean that we automatically stop doing what we're doing, because we tithe because that is a spiritual practice. That is the way we say we are not in charge. And we do not control our financial prosperity. I mean, yes, we work, but we don't control it. In fact, when checks used to be a thing, us older people still use checks, by the way. But on the little subject line, every time I do write a check, I put GIMS. Because this is a reminder to me that God is my source. So this whole activity of giving for us is a spiritual practice, and it doesn't matter to us whether we get a tax deduction for it or not. It's irrelevant. Check in with yourself. Check in with yourself. That's the idea. Check in with yourself. What's happening in the United States of America right now with immigrants is abhorrent to me. It is people that are brown and black and look differently than a white Caucasian person are being snatched off the streets and sent to who knows where, because we don't even know where. That's what's happening in the United States of America right now. And I would say, and most of us in this room, not all of us, but most of us in this room are white privileged people. And you know what? We can look away, but I'm saying, is that really the decision we want to make? As white privileged people? I mean, I'm a white privileged people. Is that the decision for me to make? to look away? You know, we've been doing that in the United States for so long, it's just tearing me up. We did it when we first arrived here to the indigenous population. We said, you can have this little piece of land, and by the way, we'll steal your kids and put them in school so that we can deculture them and make them more like us. That's what we did. In 1882, we passed the Chinese Exclusion Act. There it says it right in the title, the Chinese Exclusion Act. After the Chinese immigrants during that time arrived in California and helped build the Intercontinental Railroad across the Rocky Mountains, by the way, not on the East Coast where it's at most hilly, but through the Rocky Mountains, we said, oh, we're done with you now, we don't want you here because you look like this, because your features are like this. We don't really want you as immigrants. Immigrants ourselves! Saying, and if those people happened to be gone when that Exclusion Act went in place, they were excluded. They couldn't get back in the country. Whole towns were built around Chinese culture that just collapsed. 1882, we did that. During World War II, we decided that the Japanese people who were living here were somehow going to ruin something somehow, or they were spies or whatever we did. We put almost 120,000 of them in internment camps at 10 locations in the United States of America. This is not the first time that's happening. But what I'm saying is, do we white people of privilege, because we were never rounded up, by the way, not that I'm aware of. The Japanese were, the Chinese were. Let me not even talk about black slavery. That's another whole topic. And now black and brown people, Islamic people, Latinos, are being rounded up. We can look away. But just because we can look away, is that what we should do? Is that what we should do? That's up to you. Check in with yourself is what I'm saying. Check in with yourself. This past week, the IRS decided, because of a lawsuit brought by the religious, let me see here, the National Religious Broadcasters in several churches, to overturn the Johnson Amendment that was made in 1954 that said that churches were tax-exempt organizations. But the broadcasters in these two churches decided that was against their religious freedom and their freedom of speech. The court agreed with them, and now at churches we can endorse candidates from the pulpit. Just because I can doesn't mean I will, and rest assured, people, that I will not be here endorsing any candidate or party from this place. That is not going to happen here. You know why it's not going to happen here? Because I trust you. Because you have a brain. Because you have a heart. Because you are the one in charge of, do I do it this way or do I do it that way? You are not sheep to be led by me. We are here together creating a community. I don't need to tell you who to vote for. That's up to you. That's up to you. I trust you for that. You will never hear it from this place. Done. That's not going to happen. My hope for me is that I am a worthy pointer. That I am worthy enough to stand in front of you and say, hey, how about this? Or what about that? Or this is what I know happened. How is it going to inform my life for me? I hope that I'm a worthy pointer. That's what I hope. I hope this is a place where we can be curious and question things together. Not for me to tell you what to do about anything in your life, actually. To encourage you toward kindness, well, yeah, I would do that. For sure. My work here is really to remind you and to remind me of why we're here. Because if we are here, I believe we are here on purpose. And if we're here on purpose, this is my belief, and it doesn't have to be yours, but my belief is that we are here to wake up. We're here to become awakened. We're here to know something that maybe the world is not telling us. We're here to put feet to our spiritual awakening. That's what I decided this week. That we're here to put feet to our spiritual awakening. It sounded pretty good when I wrote it before. To have an awakening. You know, there's phrases for that in all different traditions. You know, in the Buddhist tradition, it's called being enlightened. In some of the Christian traditions, it's called being born again. In another way, Paul, in his letter to, I forget which letter he wrote, he said, yours is to be transformed by the renewal of your mind, to be awakened by transforming your mind. Or in another one, to become one with all that is. That's what I'm talking about. That's why we're here. And none of this has to do with AI or taxes or any of that stuff. Or maybe it has everything to do with it. You know, maybe it has everything to do with that. I mean, what does it mean? What does it mean to awaken? That's what I thought about this week. What does it mean to wake up? And do I really want that? Do you want that? I want to. I want to wake up. I want to wake up because awakening means to me that I'm not afraid. That I'm not egotistically not, like I'm not afraid, that I'm grounded. That I feel, you know, I feel like I belong. Don't you want to feel that? Like I want to belong. I want to feel that. I want to stand here and know that I'm alive on purpose and I'm alive to be here. How do we do that? How do we get there? How do we get there? That's what I was thinking about as I was sitting in my chair over the week. How do I become awakened? You know, I'm sure there's books and books written on it. Maybe you're reading one right now. Maybe you have an idea. Maybe you're doing that in your life now. But these are the things that came to mind that I think are so important for us at this time on this planet with each other. And the first one is to accept my own impermanence. To accept my own impermanence. It is the one guarantee in life. In my opinion, the only guarantee in life. That you will leave your body and so will I. I haven't known anybody who hasn't. That's going to happen. In fact, of all the people in here, somebody's leaving first. And out of all the people in here, somebody's leaving last. And the rest of us are leaving in between. That's the truth. I mean, that's the truth. There's no like, oh, she's talking about something more. But I mean, come on. Come on. There was a little meme or quote on Facebook that said, you know, imagine reading a book with no way to turn back the page. How carefully would you read it? That is your life. That is your life. Because this is it. This is not going to last forever. None of it is going to last forever. And the thing is to not be discouraged by that, but to be enlivened by that. To say, I'm still here. I'm still here. You know, I'm still here. I read a story about a little girl who was with her family in Texas at the flooding on the 4th, and they were all in this tent, and she's the only one that survived, probably. And you know what she said to the rescuers before she even knew? Well, I guess she knew that the rest of her family was not found. She said, maybe God's not done with me yet. You know, maybe God's not done with you yet. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? That kind of thing. Because we're only here such a short time. I like to think about it like the dash. It's on everybody's tombstone or obituary. Mine will say March 16th, 1958, dash, and there'll be another date. That will be my life right there in the dash. That's what we got, the dash. Whatever that is. Our dash, my dash, your dash, the dash. That's it. That's what we got. So I think when I think about it, I think about how it can make me more humble. I also think about how it can make me more bold and authentic and wanting to be me. Me, just me, as I am. Because remembering my impermanence. Remembering my impermanence. So accepting that. I think that's one way to awaken. It's a real shot to awaken to that, I think. How about this? Accept that everything is temporary. There is nothing that doesn't change. There's pain and there's pleasure. There is nothing that is not temporary. Can you think of something? What is the thing that's not temporary? In my life. In my life. What is not temporary? What do you know for sure that will last forever? Water? Maybe. Maybe not on Pluto. You know, what will last on ever? We can believe things, but we don't know for sure. We were talking about that in Death Cafe. We were yesterday. There were those of us there. And we were talking about these things, and we all realized it's what we believe, but do we know it's true? Do we know what's going to happen when we die? Some of us have an idea and we really believe that to be true, but you don't know, do you? How could you know? How could you know? You think you know. I think I know. You think you know. We think we know, but are we just making up a story? For sure? For sure? For sure? We have the experience, and then we let it be, is what I'm saying here. We have the experience, and then we let it be. We don't have to let it go. Letting it go seems harder to me. What about if we just let it be? We have this, and then we let it be. And then we have that, and then we let it be. Because everything is temporary. There's nothing that's not temporary. It keeps me alive in the moment. If I know that, if I really believe that, and maybe you're saying, Paula, that's not true. Well, fine, that's okay. Because you don't have to agree with me. But I'm saying, if I know that everything is temporary, it enlivens me and it keeps me awake. Because I will see things that I might not see otherwise. Because it's going to change. It's going to change. Here's the other thing that I think keeps me awake, that helps me stay awake or keep awake. And that is realizing that there is no us and them. Sometimes that's really hard. There is no us and them, there's only us. It changes me to remember that. If I am looking in the face of something I disagree with, I'll even make it benign and say there is no separation, there is only us. There's not us and them. There's not. You have to decide, though, if you believe that. Is there really us and them? Or is there only us? Could I really trust that there's something greater going on that I don't know for sure, that's living us, that I'm a part of, and I cannot be separated from it, so that means there's only us? I mean, could I believe that? And I think when I believe that, and when I'm able to act as if that's the truth in me, that I stay awake. Because I stay out of judgment. For one of the things I do is stay out of judgment. I can stay in a greater way aligned with what I think is God, which is that cosmic pulse of life that lives me, that's nudging us toward the oneness that we already are. I feel more awake like that. I feel defeated otherwise, sometimes. I feel defeated by that. All of this is not to be discouraged. It's like recognizing impermanence and realizing that we're one. Like this enlivens me this week. I feel like, yes, this enlivens me. It enlivens me to know that that's the case. Like it's urgent. My living is urgent. It's urgent that I love you. It's urgent that we love each other. It's urgent that I feel it's like urgent. Like I want to live that way. I want to live that way. Well, listen, this is all in my mind, and some of you know I'm a member of Wilmington Faith Leaders United. So it's a group of faith leaders here in Wilmington. We are, part of our mission statement is to be a comfort and a moral voice in the community. So we're different faiths, and realizing that we're all one, that we're all the same, that there is no us and them, that we have a Jewish rabbi, and we have me who, you know, they all talk about their history. The history of Judaism is ancient. Spiritual Soul Center is 8 years old. Yeah. But I'm a part of it, you know? I'm a part of it. Then you have the United Methodists, and you have the Unitarian Universalists, and you have all these people together, right? And I'm part of the executive committee. And we had a meeting this week on Thursday, and Rabbi Bender, who has spoken here before at Spiritual Soul Center, had the meeting at her temple and invited us to be there with a group of teens. The name of the group is called Creating Friendships for Peace. These teens are from the island of Cyprus. The island of Cyprus is about 200 miles as the crow flies from Israel, and about 40 miles south as the crow flies from Turkey. It is 1/10 the size of North Carolina. So it is a small island. And the Cypriots who live there are divided. In fact, currently, it is the only walled, divided capital city in the world. The people cannot cross from north to south in this tiny island without going through a whole litany of proving this and proving that, and, you know, the border crossing thing is crazy. And this organization has set up a camp that these teens can sign up to go to. The Turkish Islamic students from the north, the Greek Orthodox students from the south, getting together to understand each other and to get beyond the stereotypes that their parents and elders hold about the war that went on to separate the island into two. These teens. And once they go to camp, they can then the next year apply to come to the United States and be here in pairs, one from the north, one from the south, in a pair, staying with a sponsor here, happens to be in Wilmington, North Carolina. So we got to meet. These teens wanted to know about religion because in their tiny island, they only have two. They have these Islam in the north, and they have Greek Orthodox in the south. And it's really curious to them that all these different ways of being spiritual, let's just say, happen in the United States. So we talked a little bit about that, but I'll tell you what, I learned more than they ever learned about us. I learned more about them. These girls, and they were all girls, they were 16 and 17 years old. They were beautiful. They were articulate in English. They were just amazing. And they were talking about their friendships and how, even though their parents had this stereotypical way of looking at the other, that they were going to change. And they had changed. And they don't carry that with them. And they were just beaming about it right in front of me. And I was like, oh my God, you know, this right here, 16, 17, talking about peace, saying how it was going to happen, and living on this tiny island. I thought, Paula, stop being sad. On the way home, I thought, I am so tired of being sad. I used to wear that like a badge. I'm like, well, it's just my go-to emotion. You know, I'm sad. That's where I go. Stop it. I thought, stop being sad. These young people, these young kids, these young 16 and 17-year-old girls are talking about peace as if it's possible tomorrow. Oh my God. Why aren't I with them? Because just because we don't have peace in the world and they don't have peace on their island did not stop them from feeling the way they felt, from not being sure that things will change with their generation. Dang. Dang. The impermanence of everything, including this conflict. Including the conflict. They inspired me. much more than I think any of us sitting there inspired them with our religious talk. It was incredible. You know, the gift of being awake, the gift of being spiritually awake is to embody joy, a deep joy. The gift of being spiritually awake is to walk in peace no matter what's falling around you. No matter if they're bombs or threats or whatever they are, is to walk and not be afraid to look it right straight in the face. That's being awake. That's being alive, and that's being enlivened, and that's the way I want to live. The more we are awake, the more we are awake, the more the whole becomes awake. And who knows what's possible. If you listen to these teens, peace in their lifetime now. I thank all of them. I don't even remember their name. They introduce themselves by their name and say, but you can call me this because we don't pronounce it the same. One of them's Lauren. You can. My name's Lauren, but you can call me Lauren because that's the way y'all pronounce it. They were precious. They were precious, precious, precious. Anyway, let's take this into meditation today. Thank you for listening for me so long this morning. Take a deep breath in. Just because it is the way it is, just because there's a law or a presence that says this, I say check in with yourself. Check in with yourself. You can trust yourself. The way that we can trust ourselves to the highest and best is when we know we are acting for the whole. When we know that by our individual actions, we influence the whole. Because we are connected to it. The breathing in and breathing out. Just sitting for a short while. Checking in with ourselves. The place of wisdom in us. Do I want to be awake? Do I want to feel alive? Do I want to feel grounded and like I belong? For a few moments together. Let us find the ease in our hearts, knowing that we are not alone in our pathway to awakening. That we have within us and among us the strength, the courage, the love, the empathy. We have it all that we need inside of us. To know that we're not doing it on our own. I want us to rest assured that we are here on purpose. And we have, through us, what it is that we need to be everything that we are to be. With that, I say we are grateful. So it is.